The never-ending story for Nikita Hand. James Lawrence has issued High Court proceedings against her following this civil case in which a jury cleared him of sexual assault. Now, this is slightly confusing, but we're going to explain it in as simple a way as we can. So Nikita Hand, having just come out of those appeals, has now been hit with a civil case by James Lawrence around his reputation.
But around it's saying the damage it has caused his reputation is that's a part of it. But really he's suing on sort of novel legal grounds, which are that he was subjected to the legal action against him was which is described as frivolous and vexatious. So basically, to summarise, what he's saying is that that he shouldn't have been put in that position where he was being sued for rape. Now, obviously, people will remember back to the trial that James Lawrence came forward and said he had sex with Nikita Hand that night. She was in court, said she didn't.
There's even a little bit more detail that I think we need to go step by step on it, right? So we got the evidence during the trial of Conor McGregor, who was found guilty, civilly liable, essentially, for sexually assaulting Nikita Hand. So the incident happened at the Beacon Hotel on the 9th, or around the 9th of December 2018. And Nikita Hand was at her Christmas party, the court heard, and she was with a friend. They had been out and then they went back to the hairdressing salon where she worked. And there'd been an exchange of messages with Conor McGregor, who was out and had previously been with a group who went home in Crystal nightclub, I think.
Crystal nightclub,
So he gets in his car and he drives over to collect. Was it first James Lawrence or first the two girls?
I think it was first the two girls, was it? And then collected
And then went to James Lawrence's house and collected him. Got him up out of the bed, we heard during the trial. So they go back to the Beacon Hotel. And in the aftermath of this, Nikita Hand goes to the Gardaí and attends the sexual assault unit and says she has been raped by Conor McGregor, right? So a Garda investigation begins. And Conor McGregor, I think, goes willingly for questioning with his lawyers.
He goes willingly for questioning. Some of those interviews with Gardaí were ultimately played in the court and there was an issue made of the fact that he said a lot of no comments. Of course, he has said...
no comments.
Yeah, but he had said, well, that was on the basis of his legal advice. And ultimately...
he didn't go with a pre-prepared statement.
No.
So he's in and he's questioned.
Yeah.
So after that, and we heard this through Nikita Hand's, her representative, John Gordon, he said that in the aftermath of that, Lawrence came forward himself to Gardaí after the McGregor interview, and he said that... he first of all said he used the same solicitors, which was highly unusual, and that ultimately McGregor paid for his legal fees. So he actually said in the court, Gordon said, we may assume that Lawrence was in cahoots with McGregor from the word go. But basically, he didn't give a statement. That he went forward to the Gardaí and said that he had basically had sex with Nikita Hand.
Yes.
And he didn't give a statement immediately, but he did give a statement in the January of 2019. And it was at that point he said that he had had what he called soft sex with Nikita Hand. And Gordon asked the court during the trial, why would you throw in the word soft? You throw it in because you are now aware, you've seen all the photographs, that this lady has been badly beaten up, and you know in the word, to use the word soft, basically to distance yourself, but at the same time confuse the narrative. And that confusion of the narrative, I imagine, is why Nikita Hand's lawyers sued both Lawrence and McGregor. There's a sort of, it's been explained to me a little bit why Lawrence would have been sued by her, because Nikita Hand in her evidence confusingly said that she had no memory whatsoever of a sexual assault by Lawrence.
And she also said she didn't believe she had sex with
had
him.
sex with him.
So that was what was the basis was, I suppose, that if she had sex with him, her legal team would have said she was so inebriated, so out of her head that she can't remember it and therefore wouldn't be able to give consent. Now, James Lawrence has denied any of that. He has insisted he's always told the truth. He's denied being in cahoots. He's put out statements. So we've heard all of them and we've detailed them on the pod. But there obviously is a huge contradiction in the two claims.
So you had a situation where if Nikita Hand's legal team didn't sue Lawrence, he could have been brought as a witness, I think, which would have possibly confused the case anyway.
Well, look, I mean, he would have been brought as a witness, as in everybody who was present that night.
Well, by McGregor, you'd imagine would have been produced as a witness, and with this confusing narrative that we had sex, consensual sex, in the aftermath of this incident where she had claimed that McGregor had raped her.
Yeah.
And we did see some CCTV. She certainly did go back to the hotel room for a period of time with Lawrence. I think she was telling the court that he was kind of sort of comforting her before she went home. And that, as I said, she had no memory whatsoever of having sex and didn't believe she did. So now we come to the appeals.
Yeah.
Oh, well, first of all,
costs, I think.
We first of all come to what the jury basically cleared Lawrence of sexual assault.
Yeah.
But the trial judge refused to award him legal costs, saying it was completely inappropriate because McGregor had already covered his legal fees. Now, that was super bizarre.
That was unusual, I'd say. So, because if you win a case, it's almost automatic that you get your fees paid. I mean, it's like that's pretty standard. So, and that was pointed out by James Lawrence's legal team. They were saying he's entitled to his fees. This is normal. But however, the judge made a different determination, and he also effectively commented on why the jury found, made the decision that they made. And he, the judge said basically that
it was because his legal fees had already been covered by McGregor, and that came out during the trial. McGregor was asked that directly.
Yeah.
He sort of tried to fudge it and he didn't really know what was being paid. But ultimately, I think for the legal community in general, what was really unusual was that when Lawrence came forward, McGregor has his own legal team. Usually a solicitor would say to us, somebody coming in like that, go to another solicitor.
Yeah. And of course,
would rarely, if unheard of, represent the two individuals.
Yeah. And of course, Conor McGregor paid for James Lawrence's. That also became that was also said in court. So ultimately, they appealed the verdicts. They appealed it on a number of grounds, but the real bombshell initial appeal.
So did Lawrence appeal the verdict in relation to him? That, because I mean, he was basically cleared in the civil court. He hardly appealed that.
But he appealed the fact that his costs weren't paid.
Yeah, he appealed the costs.
Yeah.
Whereas McGregor appealed, well, let's get to this.
Yeah.
Because here, there's even more confusion. McGregor appealed the verdict, and witnesses were due to be brought forward to the court who were going to give evidence. We were told that on the night that she returned home in the aftermath of this lengthy Christmas party and the allegations that she had made that happened within it, that these neighbours said that they saw Nikita Hand having a big row with her then partner, and that, they had a kind of a physical row. And they said they saw it from their home across the road into the bedroom window of Nikita Hand's home. She denied that. These witnesses were due to be brought forward. There was a slight change in the legal representatives for Conor McGregor, because he all of a sudden had an individual from the north, a KC, Mulholland, representing him.
Yeah.
And he, as the case was due to begin, and this was going to be like bombshell evidence that we were all going to hear, he went to the court and said, actually, we aren't going to present this evidence because we don't think you're going to accept it.
Yeah, but it was very complicated again, and we're not going to get bogged down. But they had a report from a former pathologist in the north, so that bombshell evidence was taken out, and then you had an appeal on a number of grounds that were all ultimately rejected by the courts. James Lawrence also appealed his costs, but again, the Court of Appeal refused it. They said that Mr. Lawrence's evidence that he saw consensual sex between Nikita Hand and Conor McGregor must have been rejected by the jury, which found that he had raped her, and it found aspects of James Lawrence's evidence were fundamentally at odds with the jury's verdict in relation to McGregor, and could only be regarded as untruthful. And it said that the giving of such evidence was a very serious matter, and it also ruled that it would not award James Lawrence his costs because McGregor had paid his legal fees. So, I mean, James Lawrence's legal costs would have been a couple of 100,000 easily. Nikita Hand ultimately got $250,000. So, if she had to pay James Lawrence's legal fees, it probably would have
negated whatever she was
possibly
awarded.
So that is where it looked like it had come to an end, I would have thought, because Conor McGregor has also hired a new legal team, and he is looking at a Supreme Court appeal. But James Lawrence, he could have also, obviously, you can always go to Supreme Court, but you would have thought maybe that part of the case was at an end. But of course, he's lodged this new case.
And in the meantime, Conor McGregor is going to Wexford County Council this time in order to try and seek nomination for the presidency.
Yeah, he's going and
he's been around a few already, Donegal.
Yeah, he sent a few notes. I think there's a note coming up. There's a Westmeath today. So yeah, this case is going on exactly. So he signed a deal with Donald Trump Jr. there as well. So it's a business venture with Donald Trump Jr. So all of this, there's kind of these two narratives going on where people will have seen Conor McGregor standing outside the Dáil and, putting his case forward for why he should be president.
How did that go down?
Well, it goes down well in America anyway. Obviously, the Sunday Indo published a provisional opinion poll where he got 2%. This weekend, 2% of people that they polled said they would vote for him, as opposed to 20% for, I think it was Heather Humphreys and Jim Gavin were that. So he's far back in the opinion polls. But of course, he's probably getting the most attention worldwide, including from people like Elon Musk. And there's been huge coverage of it in the US. The Nikita Hand trial has got a lot of coverage as well. Both things are going on simultaneously.
Has Elon Musk ever been in Ireland?
I don't know, but he's very huge interest in Ireland.
Engaged,
yeah, he's very engaged with Ireland.
He's criticised Simon Harris, the Taoiseach.
Yeah.
Used his platform X to do so. Accused Harris of tyrannically blocking the will of the people of Ireland. Obviously, that's in his support for would-be President Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very, very engaged, isn't he?
He's very engaged. So it's just a curious thing where, back in the old days, a civil trial like that would have really been the end of a career. But in the modern social media world, McGregor can still flood the zone with other stories, including running for president of Ireland. And it kind of floods out that other story. This case, again...
He needs support of how many councils to get
4 county councils or 20 members of the Oireachtas, either TDs or senators. So, look, he's just not going to get it. It's as simple as that.
He did.
Well, look, that's another matter. But these other cases will probably take a while to get to court. Now, we both know, this isn't a common case to be brought. James Lawrence is basically seeking damages for what they describe as an abusive process by Miss Hand and her servants or agents. And he says, the statement says, Mr. Lawrence cooperated with the Gardaí, and obviously charges weren't brought. And they say, despite this, a frivolous legal action was issued unnecessarily against our client, exposing him to substantial cost implications and several years of media scrutiny and sensationalist tabloid publications, undermining his good standing and character. And so he's saying they claim the litigation is highly improper and vexatious, and which was corroborated by Miss Hand during her evidence. She says that he did not assault her, nor did he rape her. So there will be complicated, we're not lawyers, so we don't know how it goes. And people often feel you will hear people say in a criminal case, if somebody is found not guilty, can they not sue now because they were put through that? Well, they can't, because the state is entitled to take criminal actions that don't succeed. And I suppose people are entitled to take cases to court, and it doesn't automatically mean that you can be sued just because it was deeply uncomfortable or somebody was subject then to public scrutiny. So this will be an unusual case, because also what tends to be said in court is, to a degree, privileged, isn't it? It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. We haven't seen many cases of this type.
And there's a solicitor called Terry McGregor. Do you ever watch him?
This is the guy on TikTok. Yeah, I do.
Terry Gorey.
Yeah.
We should have him on.
Yeah.
Let's get in touch with him and see will he come on. He does sort of TikTok and
I know him well. Yeah,
Instagram kind of videos about it, but he explains things really well. And I suppose what's going forward. He's a self-employed solicitor he specialises in small business, property, employment law, etc. But I think he's pretty good at explaining the legalities around it and what might come up in this civil case, and maybe how long it'll take to get there.
Yeah.
How long it can hang. You presumably have to keep moving a civil case forward. You can't just leave somebody sort of out there being sued forever. Wasn't that the law around that?
That is
changed?
the law, yeah.
Ultimately, Nikita Hand, it's 7 years nearly since that December Christmas party went spectacularly horrendous for her. And it's this ongoing stress, but it's good to see her out sort of getting on with life.
Yeah. Exactly, and she has received a lot of support from a lot of people. I mean, that is also part of it, but it must be difficult
to go up against such a big celebrity as McGregor, and to face. I mean, you'd have to just. I don't know how you deal with the hate that you'd get in from some of those sort of hardcore supporters who, will come at us if we even mention them, you know?
Yeah, well, I think she probably wakes up every week and will face 100 social media messages of a negative type. So it can't be easy. But look, this is, it can't be easy. Let's just put it that way.
All right. We'll no doubt be back to this.
Thanks, Nicola.
I'm Nicola Tallant, and you're watching Crime World, a podcast about criminals, drugs and the underworld in Ireland and across the globe. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you can be the first to watch all our latest episodes. You can also listen wherever you get your podcasts.